Okay. Can someone confirm if you can see and also hear well?
Yes, Rohit, we can hear you. We can see the screen, Rohit.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudhirayet Nashta Prayesha Vadresha Nityam Bhāgavata-sevayā Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devakinandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Harihi Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 13. Description of the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj. Sutta Uvacha Nisamya Kaushara Dhruvasya Vaikuntapadadirohanam Prarudha-bhavo Bhagavatya-dokshaje Prashtum punastam Vidurah prachakrame. Suta Goswami, continuing to speak to all the rishis, headed by Shaunaka, said, after hearing Maitreya Rishi describe Dhruva Maharaj's ascent to Lord Vishnu's abode, Vidura became very much enlightened in devotional emotion, and he inquired from Maitreya as follows. Vidura Vacha Kete Prachetaso Nama Kasya Patyani Suvrata Kasya Navave Prakhyataha Kutrava Satram Asata. Vidura inquired from Maitreya, O greatly advanced devotee, who were the Prachetas? To which family did they belong? Whose sons were they? And where did they perform the great sacrifices? Manye Mahabhagavatam Naradam Devadarshanam Yena Proktah Kriya Yogaha Paricharya Vidhir Hare. Vidura continued, I know that the great sage Narada is the greatest of all the devotees. He has compiled the Pancharatric procedure of devotional service and has directly met the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Swadharmashileh Purushayr Bhagavan Yagna Purushaha Ijyamano Bhaktimata Narade Neritah Kila. While all the Prachetas were executing religious rituals and sacrificial ceremonies and thus worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead for his satisfaction, the great sage Narada described the transcendental qualities of Dhruva Maharaj. यास्ता देवर्षिना तत्र विर्निता भगवत्कथाः मह्यं शुश्रूषवे ब्रह्मन् कार्त्स्नेयाचष्टुम् अर्हसि. My dear Brahmana, how did Narada Muni glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and what pastimes were described in that meeting? I am very eager to hear of them. Kindly explain fully about that glorification of the Lord. Maitreya ध्रुवस्य चोत्कलः पुत्रः पितरि प्रस्थिते वनं सार्वभौमश्रियं नैच्छद् अधिराजासनं पितुः. The great sage Maitreya replied, My dear Vidura, when Maharaj Dhruva departed for the forest, his son Utkala did not desire to accept the opulent throne of his father, which was meant for the ruler of all the lands of this planet. सजन्मनोपशान्तात्मा निस्सङ्गः समदर्शनः ददर्श लोके विततम् आत्मानं लोकम् आत्मनि. From his very birth, Utkala was fully satisfied and unattached to the world. He was equipoised, for he could see everything resting in the super soul and the super soul present in everyone's heart. आत्मानं ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं प्रत्यष्टमितः विग्रहम् अवद्बोधरसैकात्म्यम् आनन्दम् अनुसन्ततम् अव्यवच्छिन्नयोगाग्नि दग्धकर्ममलाशयः स्वरूपम् अवरूढानो नात्मानो anyam tadaikshata. By expansion of his knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, he had already attained liberation from the bondage of the body. This liberation is known as nirvana. He was situated in the transcendental bliss and he continued always in that blissful existence which expanded more and more. This was possible for him by continual practice of Bhakti Yoga, which is compared to fire because it burns away all dirty material things. He was always situated in his constitutional position of self realization, and he could not see anything else but the Supreme Lord and himself engaged in discharging devotional service. Jadanda Badironmatta Muka Mukar sorry. Jadanda Badironmatta Mukakritir Athanmatihi Lakshitah Patih Balanam Prashantarchir Ivanalaha. Utkala appeared to the less intelligent persons on the road to be foolish, blind, dumb, deaf, and mad, although actually he was not so. He remained like fire covered with ashes without blazing flames. मत्वातं जडम् उन्मत्तं कुलवृद्धाः समन्त्रिणः वत्सरं भूपतिं चक्रुर् यवीयांसं ब्रह्मेत्सुतम्. For this reason, the ministers and all the elderly members of the family thought Utkala to be without intelligence and, in fact, mad. Thus, his younger brother, named Vatsara, the son of Brahmi, was elevated to the royal throne, and he became king of the world. Svartitir Vatsare Vatsarshreshtha Bharyasuta Shad Atmajan Pushparnam Tigmaketum Cha Ishmam Urjvam Vasum Jayam. King Vatsara had a very dear wife whose name was Swarvita, and she gave birth to six sons named Pushparna, Tigmaketu, Isha, Urja, Vasu, and Jaya. पुष्पार्णस्य प्रभाभार्या दोषा च द्वे वधूवतुः प्रातर्मध्यन्दिनं चायम् इति आसन् प्रभासुताः. Pushparna had two wives named Prabha and Dosha. Prabha had three sons named Pratar, Madhyandinam, and Sayam. Pradosho निष्ठितो व्युष्ट इति दोषा सुता त्रयः व्युष्टः सुतं पुष्कर्ण्यां सर्वतेजसम् आददे. Dosha had three sons, Pradosha, Nishita, and Vyushtha. Vyushta's wife was named Pushkarini, and she gave birth to a very powerful son named Sarvateja. Sachakshusutam akutyam पत्न्यां मनुम् अवापः मनोरसूत महिषी विरजान् नड्वलासुतान् पुरं कुत्सं त्रितं द्युम्नं सत्यवन्तं मृतं अग्निस्तोमम् अतिरात्रं प्रद्युम्नं शिबिम् उल्मुकम्. Sarvateja's wife Akuti gave birth to a son named Chakshusha, who became the sixth Manu at the end of millennium. Nadvala, the wife of Chakshusha Manu, gave birth to the following faultless sons: Puru, Kutsa, Trita, Dyumna, Satyavan, Rita, Vrata, Agnistoma, Atiratra, Pradyumna, Shibi, and Ulmaka. उल्मुको जनयन् पुत्रान् पुष्करिण्यान् षड् उत्तमान् अङ्गन् सुमनसं ख्यातिं क्रतुम् अङ्गीरसं गयम्. Of the 12 sons, Ulmuka begot six sons in his wife Pushkarini. They were all very good sons, and their names were Anga, Sumana, Khyati, Kratu, Angira, and Gaya. सुनीतान् गस्य यान् पत्नी सुषुवे वेणुम् उल्बनम् यद्दौहिशील्यात् स राजर्षिर्निर्विन्नो निरगात् पुरात्. The wife of Anga, Sunita, gave birth to a son named Vena, who was very crooked. The saintly king Anga was very disappointed with Vena's bad character, and he left home and kingdom and went out to the forest. यमङ्गसेपुः कुपितां वाग्वज्रमुनहयः किल गतासोस्तस्य भूयस्ते ममन्तुर्दक्षिणं करम् अराजके तदा लोके दस्युभिः पीडिताः प्रजाः जातो नारायणां सेना पृथुराद्यः क्षितीश्वरः. My dear Vidura, when great sages curse, their words are as invincible as a thunderbolt. Thus, when they cursed King Vena out of anger, he died. After his death, since there was no king, all the rogues and thieves flourished, and the kingdom became unregulated, and all the citizens suffered greatly. On seeing this, the great sages took the right hand of Vena as a churning rod, and as a result of their churning, Lord Vishnu, in his partial representation, made his advent as King Prithu, the original emperor of the world. विधुरौवाच तस्य शीलनिधे साधोर्ब्रह्मणस्य महात्मनः राज्ञो कथ राज्ञः कथम् अभूद्दुष्टा प्रजा यद्विमना ययौ. Vidura inquired from the sage Maitreya, My dear Brahmana, King Anga was very gentle. He had high character and was a saintly personality and lover of Brahmanical culture. How is it that such a great soul got a bad son like Vena, because of whom he became indifferent to his kingdom and left it? किं वाम्नो वेण उद्दिश्य ब्रह्मदण्डम् अयुयुजन् दण्डव्रत धरे राज्ञी मुनयो धर्मकोविदाः. Vidura also inquired, How is it that the great sages, who were completely conversant with religious principles, desired to curse King Vena, who himself carried the rod of punishment and thus awarded him the greatest punishment, Brahma Shapa? नावद्येय प्रजापालः प्रजाभिरगवान् अपि यद् असौ लोकपालानं यद् असौ लोकपालानां बिभर्ति ओजः स्वतेजसा. It is the duty of all citizens in a state never to insult the king, even though he sometimes appears to have done something very sinful. Because of his prowess, the king is always more influential than all other ruling chiefs. एतद् आख्याहि मे ब्रह्मन् सुनीतात्मज चेष्टितं श्रद्धदानाय भक्ताय त्वं परावर वित्तमा. Vidura requested Maitreya, My dear Brahmana, you are well conversant with all subjects, both past and future. Therefore, I wish to hear from you all the activities of King Vena. I am your faithful devotee, so please explain this. Hare Krishna. We stop here. So this is in continuation of Dhruva Maharaj pastime and his descendants. There are some quite important parts that are mentioned in the purport, so that's why I thought, okay, split it here into two parts. So here, Suta Goswami is narrating what has happened, what he heard from Sukadeva Goswami, yeah, and the conversation of Vidura and Maitreya. So Nishamya is saying after hearing Kausharavina by the sage of Maitreya, okay, please tell me. Vidura became very much enlightened in devotional emotion, and he inquired from Maitreya as follows. The purport is very nice. It says that the transcendental subject matter is so nice that no one becomes tired of hearing or speaking. Yeah, mm, we may think that even there are so many interesting and exciting and uh, uh, quite catchy topics in the mundane world. So what is so special of the spiritual subject matter? Huh? Yeah, here we can see that um as evidenced in the topics between Vidura and Maitreya, the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the devotees are so fascinating that neither the devotee who is describing them nor the devotee who is hearing is at all fatigued by the inquiries and answers. We may think sometimes, oh, okay, there are topics like cricket, there are topics like Bollywood, Hollywood, so many things one can discuss. But in the end, they don't get anything except maybe for some moments glorifying their own role models or fans. And in the end, when they know that these role models are such a hopeless, useless guys, that they have not kept up their character, their values, uh, then slowly people may think, huh, they are not. So, but here we are talking about the glories of the Lord, where His glories are ever increasing unlimitedly. Hmm? Among the six qualities of Bhagavan, one is that He is all powerful. All powerful doesn't end. It's not like after 20 years of sports one is taking retirement, or after 40 retirement. No, yeah, he's all powerful. Hmm. Anyway, so here the transcendental subject matter is so nice that no one becomes tired of hearing or speaking. And in fact, the more they hear to and talk, the more they become enthusiastic to hear. It is only that we would like to have this on a regular basis so that we will not be distracted. But as soon as the moment comes of hearing, we find it the best, because Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakta Madhya Jipam Namaskaram. When the devotees come together and they are discussing Tushyanchita Ramanticha, then they get experience great bliss. And this is what is the key that one may not get from any other way. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is simply by the repetition of three words Hare Krishna and Rama. But still, devotees can go on chanting this Hare Krishna mantra 24 hours a day without feeling fatigued. This is the, yeah, of course, we may have to come to that ruchi of the holy name. At the moment, we may think, okay, so this is a test on our own quality of japa. Are we getting the taste of chanting? Are we always remembering to pray to the to Krishna, to Srimati Radharani, that please engage us in your service, please improve our quality of chanting, please help us. Are we meditating? Are we bringing these thoughts during our chanting? Yeah, when we have this out of our prayers, we can actually get this the taste and would like to do without fatigue. Going forward, Vidura is inquiring, please tell me, you have said prachetas, yeah, in the last chapter when Dhruva Maharaj was being narrated. It says, to which family do they belong and whose sons are there? And Narad Muni, when he was singing the glories of prachetas, he wanted to know, a devotee is ever eager to hear the glories of a devotee. Especially here, Narad Muni, when he said, then Vidura is immediately keen to know about the glories of prachetas. Vidura continued, I know the great sage Narada is the greatest of all devotees. In this connection, Prabhupada writes in the purport that there are two different ways of approaching the Supreme Lord. One is Bhagavat Vidhi and other one is Pancharatrik Vidhi. Bhagavat Vidhi or Bhagavat Marg is the method which is practiced through the nine process of devotional service, where it starts from Shravanam Kirtanam. Whereas Pancharatrika Vidhi is Archa process, which is deity worship. The other, so Pancharat is the method of temple worship, and Bhagavad Vidhi is system of nine devotional services or processes. The Krishna consciousness movement accepts both processes simultaneously, and thus enables one to make steady progress on the path of realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I don't know if Suryadesh Prabhu is joined. So this is also one of the key differentiating uh, practices we find in ISKCON, where we are not just stuck only with with Pancharatrik Vidhi. Because, yeah, of course, there are so many temples, there is so much Pakka, Agamas, and um, um, followed different ways of deity worship. Yes, but who? Only few can do that, and whoever are visiting, they are just okay, are asking the priest to do on their behalf. Yeah, and the people may not even have the consciousness. So it is very important to practice. So there are two, yeah, if you see in a temple there are two. One is the altar and one is the what do you call this, the temple space where one goes have darshan of the Lord. And when both, yeah, so we can see that the pujari is offering aratis to the Lord, to the deity's form, and then there is devotees who are uh, in front of the altar. They are offering aratis, they are offering kirtan, they are offering bhajans. This is what, when these two things are there, one is steadily advancing. This is what Prabhupada is writing. Make steady progress on the path of realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Pancharatric procedure was first introduced by the great sage Narada, as referred here by Vidura. And then it goes further. While all the Prachetas were executing religious rituals and sacrificial ceremonies and thus worshipping the Lord, the great sage Narada described the transcendental qualities of Dhruva Maharaj. So that is the connection. And now Vidura is asking, tell me about the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj. And here in the purport, Prabhupada is writing that for this purpose, he has compiled Narada Pancharatrika Vidhi, a directory of devotional service, so that devotees can always take information about how to execute devotional service and thus engage 24 hours a day in performing sacrifices for the pleasure of the Lord. So, here it is very important. Narada Muni, who is the ambassador of devotional devotees, yeah, uh, who is mission is to broadcast the devotional service of the Lord. He has compiled this. And what is the purpose? To always remember the Lord. Hmm. And Narada Pancharatri Kriti, in Pancharatra, it is very clearly described how each of the social orders can please the Supreme Lord. In fact, it is that Svesvaya Karmani Abhitara Samsiddhim Labhate Nara. Hmm? By executing one's prescribed duties, one can please the Supreme Lord. In Srimad Bhagavatam also it is mentioned, Svanushthitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam, means Toshanam. The perfection of duty is to see that by discharging one's specific duty, one satisfies the Supreme Lord. Uh, when the Prachetas were performing sacrifices according to this Narada Pancharatra Vidhi, yeah, he also wanted to glorify Dhruva Maharaj in that sacrificial arena. And in that context, now Vidura is asking, oh Brahmana, oh Maitreya, tell me, how did Narada Muni glorify the Supreme Lord, and what pastimes were described in that meeting? In that meeting where Narada Muni was glorifying Dhruva Maharaj, what all were discussed? Please tell me. And in purport, Prabhupada writes, Srimad Bhagavatam is the record of the Bhagavad Katha topics about the pastimes of the Lord. What Vidura was anxious to hear from Maitreya, we can also hear 5000 years later. Probably we are very eager. So this is what is the beauty of this Bhagavad Gita. It's not like outdated. It's not like irrelevant. This is all relevant and quite interesting. And to that now Maitreya Rishi is replying. He's saying that, you know what, Dhruva departed for the forest, and his son Utkala did not desire to accept the opulent throne of his father. This is quite nice, very nice to see that Dhruva Maharaj, yeah, he attained perfection. He left to the forest, and what happened? What happened to Utkala? Utkala, who is his son, had no interest to become the king. Quite interesting, isn't it? Usually we are thinking, oh, when can we take over? When the king goes, then his son becomes higher and he becomes the king. So sometimes sons are very eager to um, to get this opportunity, but Utkala has no interest. In fact, the description is so nice. From his very birth, Utkala was fully satisfied and unattached to the world. He was equipoised, for he could see everything resting in the super soul and super soul present in everyone. Whoever have this realization that the super soul, everything is resting in the super soul, in Paramatma, and not only everything is resting in super soul, and super soul is also all pervading in every being, in everyone's heart. So such a realization makes one free from the material bodily platform, and this is what we can see in the symptoms and characters of Utkala. And in the purport, Prabhupada writes, these are symptoms of Mahabhagavata. Hmm. As stated in this Bhagavad Gita 6:30, Yo mam pasyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pasyati. So all Lord is pervading everywhere and he also sees everything resting in the Supreme. Such a person is great. It is also confirmed Maya tatham idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. Lord Krishna is spread all over the universe in his impersonal feature. Everything is resting on him. But that does not mean that everything is he himself. He has his own form. This is what it means. So the Mahabhagavata who experiences the Supreme Lord's presence everywhere is never missing from the sight of the Supreme Lord, nor is the Supreme Lord ever lost from his sight. Hmm. So that is the blessing. In fact, in the verse 9, it is clear that for such a person, one can very easily attain nirvana. The liberation that is known as nirvana, Utkala has attained. He was situated in the transcendental bliss and he continued always in that blissful existence which expanded more and more. It was possible for him by continual practice of bhakti yoga, which is compared to like a fire in the purport in the end. I think, yeah, there we can see these two verses explain the verse whatever this eighth and ninth verse of this chapter is what even Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter 54th verse. Brahmabhuta prasannatma nasochati na kanchati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. In that state he achieves pure devotional service. In what state? Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma means one who is transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. Na sochati na kankshati. He never laments nor desires of anything. Uh, Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. And what? He is equally disposed towards each and every living entity. In that state, he achieves pure devotional service. Hmm. The more one becomes advanced, one makes advancement in devotional service, the more one becomes detached from the material opulence and material activity. This is the spiritual nature full of bliss. Um, the pure bliss times is what is actually coming from this stage where when one practices devotional service, when one is advancing, then he is not affected by all other things, but he is caught up in this bliss, pure bliss. It is the result of devotional service. It is said, viraktir anyatra syan. This is coming only when one is coming to this stage. Um, by advancement in spiritual knowledge, which is considered to be like blazing fire, all material desires are burned to ashes. To this effect, that is the reason we really want to take shelter of Bhagavatam, not just once a week, but nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā. Why? Because by taking to this knowledge, all our desires which are not conducive will be burnt. Hmm. The perfection of mystic yoga is possible when one is continually in connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead by discharging devotional service. A devotee is always thinking of the Supreme Person at every step of his life. In fact, Narada Pancharatra, it is mentioned Sarvopadi Nirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. It is said that bhakti, which is devotional service, means engaging all our senses, sarva upadi vinirmuktam, free from all. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of all senses, when the spirit soul renders service unto him, there are two side effects. One is freed from all mental designations, sarvopadi vinirmuktam, and one's senses are purified. Tat paratvena nirmalam. Uh, these senses are freed from desires, and these are the two effects. And one sense are purified simply by being employed in the service of the Lord. So, sarvopadir vinirmuktam. Tat paratvena nirmalam. Rishikena rishikesh sevanam. uh, Bhaktir uchyate. This is the principle. This is what Narad Muni is saying, and this is also our guiding principle. And then. Uh, uh, and then Jadanda, so anyway, this goes further. Utkala appeared to be less intelligent person on the road to be foolish. So for people, he appeared to be like foolish, blind, dumb, deaf, and mad. Although actually he was not so. This is just like Jada Bharat. Not only Jada Bharat. Who was that? Who was his father? Rishabdev. Yeah, yeah, who comes to the Paramhamsa stage, yeah, they're totally uninterested. They're completely disinterested with the material dealings. So he found to be like that. He remained like fire covered with ashes, without blazing flames. In the purport, Prabhupada is mentioning very important to in order to avoid contradiction, botheration, and unfavorable situations created by material persons, a great saintly persons like Jadabharat or Utkala remains silent. Yeah, in the case of Rahugana and Jadabharat, yeah, there Jadabharat was silent until he was asked, "Hey, now I understand you are a great person. Tell me who are you?" So Utkala was not interested to show himself that he is the right person, to show himself he is a devotee. He was just on his own self, completely to himself in his devotion. Prabhupada writes further, very important, yeah. For all practical purposes, the whole world is full of non-devotees. And so one kind of very advanced devotee is called Bhajananandi. Bhajananandi means they are just interested only to do bhajan, 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 always remembering the Lord. Here we can see Utkala. And those who are Goshtanandis, however, preach to increase the number of devotees. Okay. So Goshtanandis are one who are traveling tirelessly to spread Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission all over the world. But very important, the last line of this purport 10 says, but even such preachers who are actually traveling also avoid opposing elements who are unfavorably disposed towards spiritual life. It is not that one is just challenging and getting caught up and yeah, only interested into, uh, conquering or yeah. No, if one is unfavorably disposed, one, even if he is a Ghostanandi, he is not so interested to change, yeah, because, yeah, uh, we can see that is not conducive, that's not good. For this reason, the ministers and all the elderly members of the family thought Utkala to be without intelligence and in fact mad. And with that, they have appointed the younger brother Vatsara as onto the throne. If you want, what is this? You can read in the purport who is this and what is the autocracy and monarchy system that is brought here. I'll quickly go to last parts because last parts is very important, which is telling the wife of Anga. So from the verse 18, the wife of Anga, Sunita, gave birth to a son named Vena, who was very crooked. The saintly king Anga was very disappointed with Vena's bad character, and he left home and kingdom and went out to the forest. In fact, later tomorrow we will read what is the greatness of Anga, but what happened, and finally why Vena is born. So all these things we will cover tomorrow. But because he was disappointed by the bad character of Vena, he left. When he left, then Vena is the king, and then what happened? Uh, Vena, he was completely uh, taking over the kingdom and doing all kind of unregulated activities. This caused great difficulties, and the great sages simply cursed. Prabhupada writes in the purport, monarchy is better than democracy because if monarchy is very strong, the regulative principles within the kingdom are upheld very nicely. So we may not say, ah, no, democracy is the best thing, monarchy is wrong. Yeah, because when we were reading history, we were coming across there is monarchy, there is monarchical rule, then there is aristocratic rule, then there is democratic rule. We were thinking monarchy is bad. No, but if a king is strong, if he is very, very loyal, when he is representative of the Lord doing it properly, then he is right. So that is the best, and that is the reason it was there. Prabhupada writes in the purport, even 100 years back in Kashmir, there is a king, a monarchical rule. The king was so strong that if a thief were arrested in his kingdom and brought before him, the king would immediately chop off the head of the thief. As a result of this severe punishment, there were practically no theft cases within the kingdom. Hmm. Now, Vidra is asking, Tasya Shila Nide Sadhor Brahmanasya Mahatmanaha Ragna Katam Abhud Dushta Praja Yad Vimana Yayo. He is saying, Vidra is saying, King Anga was very gentle. He had high character and was a saintly personality and lover of Brahminical culture. Then how come that his son he had a bad son like Vena? because of whom he became indifferent to his kingdom and left it. In fact, Prabhupada writes in the purport, in family life, a man is supposed to live happily with father, mother, wife, and children, but sometimes under certain circumstances or conditions, a father, mother, child, or wife becomes an enemy. And Prabhupada mentions about Chanakya Pandit saying that father is an enemy when he is too much in debt. Means a father is having a lot of credits or debts, no, then he becomes enemy to the family. And a mother is an enemy if she marries for a second time. A wife is an enemy when she is very beautiful, and a son is an enemy when he is a foolish rascal. In this way, when a family member becomes an enemy, it is very difficult to live in family life. And here we can see Anga has simply left. And then Vidura is asking, how is it that great sages who were completely conversant with religious principles cursed? With just a humkar, they have killed Vena. Why? In fact, King Vena, who himself carried the rod of punishment, means he is the mm, what do you call this? One who king has the power to punish. Rather, here Vena was punished by the Brahmanas, and how come that? Hmm? It is the duty of all citizens in the state never to insult the king, and in fact here he should be protected, right? Why is he killed? In the purport, Prabhupada mentions in 3023, he is called who is the Lord is called Naranarayan, indicating that Narayana, the supreme personality of Godhead, appears in the human society as the king. It is etiquette that neither a Brahmana nor a Kshatriya king is ever insulted by the citizens. Even though a king appears to be sinful, the citizens should not insult him. But in the case of Vena, it appeared that he was cursed by Naradevatas. Therefore, it was concluded that his sinful activity was very grievous. So he's asking, please, you are very conversant with all subjects, both in past and future. Therefore, I wish to hear from you. Prabhupada writes that this is again an important piece of info. Vidura accepted Maitreya as his spiritual master. A disciple always inquires from the spiritual master, and the spiritual master answers the question, provided the disciple is very gentle and devoted. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that by the mercy of the spiritual master, one is blessed with the mercy of the Supreme Lord. The spiritual master is not inclined to disclose all the secrets of the transcendental science unless the disciple is very submissive and devoted. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the process of receiving knowledge from the spiritual master entails submission, inquiry, and service. Three qualities. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. That's it. Thank you. Any questions or any thoughts? Hope your wait for long really was worth it.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for uh, after a long wait, you started the classes again and enriching our evening time.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
I think you have already
I
covered this, right? You have already crossed this
yeah, I recently finished completed this
fourth canto.
Canto 4, and I was going through the thing, and of course, I look forward to a more deeper explanation of all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is all of. I mean, it is not quite usual thing how King Vena become so unusual in the lineage of Dhruva Maharaj.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, and then also how Prithu Maharaj came and everything happened.
Yeah.
I don't have any question, but anyway, I will look forward to some deeper explanation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice. Others? Kritika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much for restarting this Bhagavad Katha every day again, actually. We were reading, but of course, we were missing this deep conversation. And as I told earlier, also that we always look forward what's coming next because we are still running behind.
Which canto you're in now?
In the end chapters of first canto, like two more
Ah.
chapters, we are still very slow because
no.
after work we
After first
studied.
canto, I think things are a little faster. Yeah, the first canto is quite huge. Yeah.
Yes, and we are reading the
Yes,
purports, and everything in detail.
very nice.
So yes, we are still a bit slow, but we know what to look forward to.
Very
So
nice.
it's always nice. Thank you so much, Babaji.
Yeah, thank you. My greetings to Divaka Prabhu. I couldn't manage to call him. Yeah, he
No
pinged me.
problem.
I think he was quite eager to see and talk. I'll catch him up later.
Sure, Babaji. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Next, Madhuri Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Jai Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for this nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā. The words are like a blessing for all of us, for all the devotees here. So thank you very much. Yes, we are always very slow because we are reading ourselves. But when we join here, we are like thorough and polishing ourselves and learning like each day. Regarding today's lecture, it was a little straightforward, and I had read this before when we were about to leave to India. Like other devotees said things about Vena, I'm all like the same page as they are. And I came across one concept like today, nirvana. So it's like it caught my attention that it is something like not interested in materialistic life. Like I think King Utkala, son of Dhruva Mahārāja. So yes, we are learning each day, every day. And thank you so much, Prabhuji. Without you, it is going to be very hard. So thank you again very much, Prabhuji.
Yep, thank you very much for taking interest and joining. Though it's already 8:30 and with kids, might be challenging.
We all are listening here, so it's for our benefit. So thank you very much again.
Yeah, thank you. And then Shruti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much for resuming the sessions again. I'm not doing any study on my own, but listen to the